Consider this for a second. On the morning of a wedding, a bride will probably spend more consecutive hours sitting in a hair and makeup chair than she will at the actual ceremony, the cocktail hour, and the first dance combined.
Oh, easily. Without a doubt.
Right. And we always tend to think of wedding mornings as these, like, soft-focus, mimosa-sipping parties. You picture the matching silk robes, everyone's laughing, perfect natural light.
Looking completely effortless.
Exactly. Completely effortless. But when you actually pull back the curtain on that vibe, you realize you're looking at a logistical framework that honestly rivals air traffic control.
It really is. It's essentially a high-level project management, just disguised as a party. And if that underlying framework collapses, well, the party basically collapses with it.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, our mission is to unpack that hidden logistics layer for you. We're looking at the ultimate timeline for bridal beauty.
So we're talking hair, makeup, those crucial trial runs, all of it.
Yeah, and we are pulling all of this from a really comprehensive guide on the Weddizer website. Specifically, we're digging into their business and logistics section, which is fascinating.
It is, because they treat wedding planning not just as this aesthetic endeavor, but as a real operational challenge.
Right, and their whole framework is designed to prevent the dreaded morning of chaos for you, the listener.
Which, might sound to some listeners like a purely cosmetic topic. Like, why are we spending an entire deep dive talking about the timing of eyeliner and hairspray?
I'm sure people are wondering that.
But it's because of the cascading nature of live events. A wedding day is just a series of tightly interlocked schedules.
Everything is connected.
Exactly. If your beauty prep lacks a rigid, almost mathematical timeline, a 20-minute delay in hair and makeup doesn't just mean you feel a little rushed putting on your shoes.
It's way bigger than that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That 20-minute time debt bleeds directly into your photography window.
Oh,
And then the photographer has to rush, which delays the transit time to the venue, which pushes back the ceremony, which cuts into the catering schedule.
so you are suddenly just chasing the clock all day long.
Exactly. Meticulous scheduling is really about creating a protective fortress around your time.
Okay, so if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't even plan my grocery trips a week in advance, let alone a haircut a year out.
Which is fair.
I am totally with you. But the Weddizer guide insists that the prep for this single morning has to start 6 to 12 months before the wedding,
Yes, it does.
which, I've got to be honest, feels like a massive exaggeration to me. I mean, we're talking about foundation and a curling iron here.
I know how it sounds.
Why on earth does this need to be booked a year in advance? Is that actually necessary, or is this just like the wedding industry creating artificial panic so you lock in deposits early?
The skepticism is completely valid. I get it. But this actually comes down to the brutal economics of inelastic supply.
Okay, inelastic supply. Unpack that for me.
So, top-tier bridal artists are a highly finite resource. Think about a popular wedding venue, right? A massive hotel might be able to host 3 different receptions in 3 different ballrooms on a single Saturday night.
Right, they can scale up.
Exactly, they scale. A freelance makeup artist cannot scale. They can only physically be in one bridal suite per morning.
Oh, I see.
So once they are booked for a Saturday in June, their inventory for that day drops to literally 0. They are off the market entirely.
Okay, that makes total sense. It's almost like a fantasy sports draft.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, like you don't wait until week 1 of the NFL season to draft your star quarterback. You have to look at the stats, review the game tape, and lock in your best players early before the other team snatch them up.
You need your starting lineup secured, 100%.
Right.
And we should probably define what makes a first-round draft pick in this scenario, because you aren't just looking for someone who can blend eyeshadow beautifully.
There's more to it than just the art.
Much more. The Weddizer logistics articles really emphasize reviewing portfolios and testimonials specifically for operational reliability.
Operational reliability. So how they handle the stress.
Exactly. You are hiring for time management under extreme pressure. Can this artist handle a stressed bridesmaid, maybe a mother-in-law asking a million questions, and still deliver a flawless application in exactly 45 minutes?
That's a very specific skill set.
It really is. The artists who possess both that aesthetic talent and the operational discipline are rare, which is why the market demands you secure them 12 months out.
Okay, so you lock in the contract early. You've drafted your elite team. But as the guide points out, securing the team doesn't mean you have the playbook yet.
No, not at all.
When we hit that 3 to 6 month mark before the wedding, Weddizer suggests moving into an alignment phase.
Right, the alignment phase.
And this involves syncing the aesthetic with the logistics. For instance, they mentioned that the neckline of your dress literally dictates the architecture of your hair.
Which people forget.
They totally do.
Yeah.
Like if you have a high, intricate lace collar, your hair needs to be structured upwards so it doesn't obscure the dress.
Yeah, you don't want to hide the details you paid for.
Exactly. And if you leave that decision to the morning of the wedding, your artist is wasting valuable minutes trying to engineer a hairstyle on the fly instead of just executing a pre-approved plan.
Which brings us to a massive logistical hurdle. You have the team, you have a general concept of the dress and the vibe, but having the best artists doesn't mean anything if they are working with an untested blueprint.
You have to test it.
You absolutely have to test the look.
The trial run, okay, this is where the Weddizer guide really threw me for a loop. They are incredibly strict about the timing here.
Very strict.
The rule is you must schedule your hair and makeup trial strictly 1 to 3 months before the wedding.
1 to 3 months. Yes.
But my immediate thought was, well, if I drafted my beauty team at the 12-month mark, why wait?
Just to get it over with.
Yeah, why wouldn't I do the trial at 11 months? Nail down the exact look and just completely check it off my mental to-do list? Because honestly, sitting on that task for 9 months sounds super stressful to me.
The urge to check things off a list is so strong when you're planning, but doing the trial at 11 months yields fundamentally corrupt data.
Corrupt data.
Think about it. You have to treat the trial run like the scientific method applied to your face and hair. You are testing a hypothesis.
Okay, I'm following.
For a scientific test to be valid, the testing environment has to mirror the final execution environment as closely as possible.
Right.
And your physical canvas changes drastically throughout the year.
You mean like having a summer tan versus winter paleness?
Melanin production is a huge part of it, yes. If you are having a summer beach wedding, but you insist on checking the trial off your list in the dead of winter, your skin's undertones and surface color will be completely different.
Oh, wow.
So the makeup artist will formulate a foundation match that looks absolutely flawless in January, but it'll look like a mismatched mask in July.
That would be a disaster.
And it's not just color. Skin texture changes with the seasons, too. Winter skin might be really dry and require a deeply hydrating, luminous primer.
Right, because of the indoor heating and everything.
Exactly. But if you use that same heavy hydrating primer in humid July, it will cause the makeup to just slide right off your face.
Man, that completely recontextualizes the timeline. The physical data is just constantly shifting.
It is. And hair growth cycles are another variable. Your hair length, your split ends, any highlights or balayage you plan to have, all of that will only be finalized at that 1 to 3 month mark.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you cut it, it changes everything.
Right. If you test a highly complicated braided updo a year out, and then you trim 3 inches off your hair 6 months later because of split ends, the architectural integrity of that hairstyle is gone.
The artist will show up on the wedding morning, reach for hair that is literally no longer there, and the entire schedule just grinds to a halt while they improvise.
Exactly.
Okay, so the 1 to 3 month window is totally non-negotiable for accurate data. But the Weddizer logistics guide doesn't just tell you when to do the trial. It gives a very specific protocol for how to conduct it to ensure the data is objective.
Yes. The how is just as important.
For example, bringing inspiration photos. They emphasize that vocabulary is incredibly subjective.
Oh, for sure.
Like, if I tell a makeup artist I want a quote-unquote smoky eye, my version of smoky might be a soft, romantic brown shadow.
Right.
But their version of a smoky eye might be heavy, jet black grunge rock. A photograph just removes all that subjectivity.
It really does. And another brilliant logistical detail they recommend is wearing a shirt that matches the color of your wedding outfit during the trial.
Wait, really? Just the color of the shirt matters?
It matters a lot. The physics of light reflection play a huge role in how we perceive makeup.
Okay, how so?
Well, a bright red t-shirt will cast a warm pinkish hue onto your jawline and neck. A stark white or ivory silk dress will bounce cool, harsh light upward. You need to see how the makeup reads against the actual color you'll be wearing.
That is so smart. I never would have thought of that. But my absolute favorite tip from this section of the guide is the stress test.
Yes!
The stress test.
You don't just sit in the salon chair, say, oh, it looks great, and wash it off before dinner. You have to wear the trial, look for an entire day, and take photos in natural lighting.
Crucial step.
But why is natural lighting so critical here? Because salons always have those incredible, flattering ring lights everywhere.
Well, ring lights are specifically designed to obliterate shadows and smooth out texture. They create an artificial perfection.
Right.
But your wedding won't take place inside a ring light. You need to expose the makeup to the full spectrum of sunlight to see the truth. Does the foundation oxidize?
Okay, let's unpack oxidation, because I hear that term thrown around a lot on beauty tutorials and stuff. What is actually happening there chemically? So oxidation is a chemical reaction. Most foundations contain iron oxides, which are the pigments that give the makeup its skin-like color.
Got it.
Over a period of several hours, those pigments mix with the natural oils and sebum your skin produces, and they react with the oxygen in the air.
Hence, oxidation.
Right. And this chemical reaction can actually cause the foundation to shift 1 or 2 shades darker or even turn slightly orange.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you cannot see oxidation happening in the first 30 minutes while you're sitting in the salon chair. You really only see it after 6 hours of wear.
So if you don't do the full-day stress test, you might walk down the aisle looking perfectly matched, but by the time you cut the cake, your face is literally 2 shades darker than your neck.
Precisely. And you also need to test the structural integrity of the hair. Does the curl drop after 4 hours? Does the mascara smudge when your body temperature rises from dancing?
Right.
Stress testing just eliminates all those variables so that when the wedding morning actually arrives, all the guesswork is entirely gone.
Which brings us to the execution day. We have our elite team drafted. We have our meticulously stress-tested blueprint. Now we zoom in on the micro timeline,
The morning of.
the morning of the wedding. And listeners, prepare yourselves, because the number the Weddizer source provides for this timeline is startling.
It's a big number.
To execute properly, they state that beauty prep should start 6 to 7 hours before the ceremony. 6 to 7 hours.
It is a massive block of time, I know.
Yes.
But this is where we really have to look at queuing theory.
Queuing theory. I was thinking back to the air traffic control analogy. Like, every single person in that bridal party, the bridesmaids, the mothers, is a plane circling the airport, and they all need a specific, mathematically designated landing slot with the beauty team.
The air traffic control analogy is spot on because it illustrates the danger of compounding delays.
Compounding delays.
Yeah, in queuing theory, if you have a system operating at 100% capacity with zero buffer, a single disruption doesn't just affect one unit, it cascades exponentially. So the Weddizer guide dictates allocating 45 to 60 minutes per person, per service, and explicitly scheduling 10 to 15-minute buffer times between every single slot.
Let's follow the math on a cascading delay, just to picture it.
Yeah.
Let's say we didn't schedule those buffers. Bridesmaid number 1 is in the chair at 8 a.m.
Right. And let's say she gets a phone call from the florist who is lost. She spends 5 minutes talking on the phone, turning her head, meaning the makeup artist has to stop working.
So now she's 5 minutes late finishing.
Exactly. Bridesmaid number 2 sits down 5 minutes late. But now the makeup artist is feeling the time pressure. They rush slightly on the eyeliner, make a mistake, and have to spend an extra 10 minutes correcting it with makeup remover and concealer.
Oh, man. So bridesmaid number 2 is now 15 minutes late finishing.
Right. And by the time bridesmaid number 5 sits in the chair, she isn't 5 minutes late. She is 45 minutes late.
Wow.
The whole system has collapsed because there were no shock absorbers built into the schedule.
This leads to a highly specific scheduling quirk from the guide that completely challenged my assumptions. They outlined exactly where the bride should be placed in this massive air traffic control lineup.
Yes, the placement is key.
I just assume the VIP goes dead last. You know, you want the bride in the chair literally minutes before she puts the dress on.
Yeah.
So the hair and makeup are 100% fresh, totally untouched by the morning.
A lot of people assume that.
But the guide says the bride's makeup should happen midway through the schedule. Why would you put the most important person in the middle?
Because placing the bride last is the single most dangerous position on the entire timeline.
Fair.
Think back to that compounding time debt we just calculated, where the schedule is suddenly 45 minutes behind. Who absorbs that penalty if they're scheduled last?
Oh, the bride.
The bride. The artist is staring at the clock, knowing the photographer arrives in 20 minutes, and suddenly the bride's carefully planned 90-minute slot is compressed into a panicked, high-speed 30-minute scramble.
That sounds like a nightmare.
You never, ever want the VIP acting as the shock absorber for the entire group's delays.
That makes so much sense. By going midway, the artist still has massive amounts of energy, the brushes are perfectly clean, and there is zero time anxiety.
Exactly.
But it's not just about avoiding delays, is it? The guide mentions a specific photography strategy here too.
It's the golden ratio of scheduling. By putting the bride's primary makeup and hair in the middle of the timeline, it finishes just as the photographer typically arrives for the quote-unquote getting ready portraits.
Oh, right, the robe shots.
Yes.